Let's light this candle, guys. Here's to you, here's to me. Welcome to Sanity session with my hair sticking up everywhere. I'm telling you. Anyway, just a minute. Chug a lug, chug a lug. Here's to you, here's to me. Mm-hmm. You know, for a man that has nothing to do, I sure stay busy doing it. I guarantee you. I mean, anyway, this is Beer 30, Friday night, Sanity session. Relax. Relax. You know what I mean? Chill out. The world can't get to you now. You're you're invisible to all the issues of the universe. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, why are we gathered here? To maintain our sanity and have a little toddy for the old body. Here's to you, here's to me. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. That's very good. I'm very pleased with that. But anyway, you saw the pizza, some of you. God damn, that damn thing. That was an 18-inch pizza, man. God almighty. I mean, well, if you do the square inch, like pi r squared, you take pi, which is 3.14, times the radius of whatever it is squared, and you'll come up with a number. And then you can compare that to smaller sizes pizza. So you either had a choice of a 14-inch or an 18-inch pizza. Well, if you get the large pizza, because of the diameter really expands out there on the end. Anyway, you get, even after all the crap, you get about 35% more pizza, even taking into the consideration the increase in price. But enough said about that. What's that got to do with Beer 30? A lot if you're into pizza, like I am. I'm going to have one slice tonight, and then the rest of the nights, I'll take one slice, cut it in half, so I've got enough pizza to last me for a month. But anyway, having said that, Beer 30 Sanity session, Friday night. It's fall in most places in the United States right now. It's cooling down. I know it's cooling here. The nights are in the 60s, low 60s. Days are in the low 80s, which is really nice here. And humidity's reasonably low, like 25 to 30-ish, in that range. So yeah, that's good. But anyway, for tonight, we're going to talk about. I'll touch on some. I lived out on the Terlingua Ranch in West Texas one time. You take Highway 118 south out of Alpine, Texas, going towards Big Bend. On the way there, about 50 miles out, you'll come to what's called the Terlingua Ranch. There, you can buy property there. You can check it out. You can go to terlinguaranch.com or whatever it is. And yeah, there's property for sale. It's totally unrestricted. You can do anything you want to do. There are no restrictions of any kind. I'm telling you. And so I bought 20 acres there. But first, I'll tell you a story. I lived in an RV park for about a year out there, and then I moved. I bought the place, the 20 acres, and lived there for about a year and a half or 2 years, close. Anyway, and I worked, or I had a part-time job at Lajitas, which is a five-star resort on the Rio Grande River, going on highway. I don't know what highway that is. Going, I guess it's north from Terlingua, the ghost town, or Studi Butte, going toward Ojinaga, OJ, and what I can't remember the name of the town on this side though. It's always one of the hottest places in Texas. But anyway, it's about 20 miles from Terlingua, but they have an airport there. They call it Lajitas International Airport. But anyway, I got a job there as the quote income auditor. It was a part-time job. I worked about 4 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week. Really a fun job actually. And the girl that was the manager or the in charge of the accounting department at that time was named Amanda. Great gal. Uh, yeah, good personality. You know what I mean. And I was just a part timer, but I'd get there early in the mornings and I'd get the documents from each department for their sales for the previous day, and then I had to enter that into the system and be sure everything worked. The numbers worked out. Anyway, it was a good job. Anyway, but at the RV park was just a little ways from the Terlingua ghost town, and every morning before I went to work, I would go walking for exercise, just like I do now. And some mornings I'd get up and it'd be just almost dark because the sun hadn't quite made it up over the horizon yet. And I mean, I'd been doing it every morning for God a couple of months, and always walked by myself. I took a flashlight and took a walk. I'd go across the highway there. I can't remember. I want to say 70. I'm not sure what number it was, and just follow some of the roads out on the Terlingua Ranch for a few miles. Well, one morning there was a dog there that was the owner's dog, and I'd pet it whenever I saw it. You know, it wasn't tied up ever, and he just kind of roamed around the campground there. And well, anyway, he never went with me. But one morning, fortunately or fate or whatever, I got up and I started walking, and here come that old dog. And I thought, boy, that's good or strange. He never had come before. But anyway, so we start walking down the road there. We're gone about a half mile, and I hear this, a rattlesnake. Let me tell you about a rattlesnake. When they're rattling, you can't tell where they are exactly. I guarantee, unless you can see them. If you can see them, you got them. But if you can't see them, if it's dark or they're out there in that brush, they're like ventriloquists. You know what I mean? It'll sound like that rattlesnake is to your right and it's to the left, or it's straight ahead and it's behind you, or it's about by your feet. But anyway, what started the rattler rattling was the dog was in front of me. He stirred up the rattlesnake. Fortunately, because the rattlesnake I thought sounded like it was off in the brush to the right. So I'm shining the flashlight out there looking for the damn rattlesnake. Guess where the rattlesnake is? Right in the middle of the road, about 5 feet in front of me. God, what luck. If it hadn't been for that dog, I'd have stepped on him. But anyway, enough said about that. But yeah, rattlesnakes will trick you, I guarantee you. For those of you that have heard them rattle out in the brush or in different places, you know what I'm talking about. And it'll scare the crap out of you. But all you got to do, I didn't try to kill the snake or anything like that. I just got my flashlight and walked way around him and continued my walk. And then when I came back, I just shined the flashlight in the road, and that's fine because they don't want to attack you. But anyway, enough said about that. Had it not been for that little old dog or big old dog, I'd have probably been bit. And then a few days later, there was another one, a rattlesnake, in a little ditch just as I was leaving the campground. But I had my flashlight on. Unfortunately, I saw him, but he wasn't coiled up. He was moving, and he didn't even throw his rattler up. So anyway, enough said about the rattlesnake stuff. But yeah, out there in the boonies like that, whenever you're boondocking and stuff, just remember that those animals out there, you're in their house. They're not in your house. You know what I mean? And they don't show you much respect. If you step on them or whatever. And but the another thing I did was, and I think I probably told you this, is I walked into a whole nest of javelinas. The brush out there is just a little bit taller than the javelina hogs, and so the javelina hogs will be out there wandering around in that brush, eating or whatever the hell they're doing. You can't see them, and you'll walk out there, like there may be some trails that go out in that brush that are nice, and you want to walk on those. I did, and one day I was out there walking and I saw a javelina. I thought, well, so I stopped. And next thing you know, I saw another javelina. And then I looked behind me, and there was more javelinas. There was javelinas all around me. There must have been 50 javelinas. Now, they're not going to bother you either unless you bother them. Now, if they have some little pigs, and you somehow make those little pigs go wee, 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 you in deep doo-doo, baby. They'll come out of that brush on you. They can't see worth a crap, but they can smell. And the only thing you can defend yourself is if you can hit them on the snout, it's like kicking them in the balls, but enough said, I probably told you about that. And then there was another time, two more things I'll tell you about. There was a time that I was near Alpine, and I was in an RV, and I was laying there in bed, and all of a sudden it was like a car had pulled up beside and was shining the headlights in the window. But the problem was there wasn't a car there. there was a damn light in the sky. It was huge, man, huge. But it was pretty far away. But it lit up the whole inside of the RV. And I thought, well, maybe it was a helicopter. They got those lights when they're looking for illegals and stuff. I didn't hear a sound, not a sound, nothing. I didn't hear nothing. Well, you can hear a helicopter or any kind of aircraft. Well, this thing wasn't making a sound. Next thing you know, right over the mountain, gone. I thought, well, that's weird stuff, man. So anyway, I walked outside and it was a starlit night, no moon, starlit though, and you could see around on the ground with just the starlight. And anyway, so next thing you know, boop, it's there again. And I thought, ha, how cute is that? Would you call that a UFO? I'd call it a definitely unidentified something, and that requires me to have another drink. Mm-hmm. Never did figure out what it was, but it never made a sound. And in bed, got back in the house or the RV, and went back to sleep. And then an hour or so later, boom, lit up again. I thought, well, shit, hi, what the hell am I going to do? So, but that was another weird thing, and another one when I was out boondocking, and I got to tell you guys, boondocking and dry camping are not the easiest things you've ever chosen to do. You really kind of need to know what you're doing to do that and be safe. But enough said. There was a place near Bluff, Utah. It was on the way to, I want to say, the Arches part. You go up north, turn left, and go to the Arches, whatever it's called. Well, on the way there was a BLM, I believe, campground, but it was free. And I drove up, I was in my Prius at that time. And so I drove down this little road. It wasn't too bad, a little rough, but I got to the spot, and the place I was going to go primarily there was like four campers already there. So I turned around, came back. There was another road that led off to the right, and I drove down it a little way. And sure enough, there was a little dirt road off to the right that went out on this little plateau that was about maybe 200 yards, rectangle shaped thing, but it was like up on a mesa. And so I thought, hell, this is a great spot, because it overlooked where those other campers were, and so I found me a nice spot facing away from the sun and stuff, and got geared up and went to bed. Well, I had beer 30 and did my walk and all that stuff. But while I was doing my walk before I got back in the Prius for the evening, I did notice that in addition to that little road that I came in on, hidden in the brush was an old primitive road that was pretty much grown up, but it was there. I just happened to notice it, and luckily I did, because during the night, as I'm sound asleep, uh, someone came in a van, but they didn't come out to the camping area. They pulled in on the road and blocked the entire exit. Okay, I mean they pulled up far enough to see my car, which was about probably 30 or 40 yards from where they ended up parking overnight. And so, anyway, the next morning I got up doing my ablutions and stuff, and I noticed that van parked there. And I thought, well, I hope they get up and leave before I, you know, leave, get ready to go because they're blocking the exit. And that's pretty dumb. And so I really wasn't sure if it was a brain dead individual or just maybe they had a little plan. I don't know. But so what I did was I got up in the morning and I walked toward the van, didn't hear anything, and then it occurred to me, if someone was kind of setting a trap or something, wouldn't it be smart to just block the exit? When the person gets ready to leave, they're going to have to wake you up to move, right? Well, then when they wake you up, then you might wake them up. You understand? It might be a quid pro quo thing. You never know. People are some weird dudes out there. So anyway, I thought, I remember that other exit that was kind of grown up, and I went over and looked at it. It looked like it would be okay to get through in the Prius. It was only about 50 feet to the road. So I did that. But that was another strange thing because I really didn't feel like that person was brain dead. I think what it was, I think when I knocked on the door to wake them up, they were going to wake me up. You know what I mean? Or whatever. I don't know. Crazy things happen. But so whenever you're RVing out there, to be safe, you got to follow your instincts, man, because your instincts will tell you a lot. And that's why I was never really comfortable with boondocking and didn't do a whole lot of it was because, yeah, I'd hear a sound at night, like, feet walking, like breaking twigs and stuff. Well, yeah, of course it could be an animal or it could be any kind of thing, but humans are more prone to stepping on twigs and branches and breaking them than animals. Animals usually move about fairly quietly. So whenever I hear something at night, I was always thinking, oh shit, here comes Leroy. I mean, Leroy the madman or whatever. But anyway, enough said about that. What else can I tell you? I can tell you that I'm going to fix up God, I'm telling you, my mouth gets dry so quick. It's part of getting old. But anyway, plan number 8,628 is I was just in my little tiny home over there reading a book. I got that little uh, recliner thing. I'm going to get rid of it. It's crap. But I'm just going to get me a regular plastic rocking chair like the one I've got on the patio now. It's a folding rocking chair. I paid $70 for that one, and I bought it like, I don't know, a year ago. That same thing today is $120, and from the same place, Home Depot. But anyway, so I'm just going to get one of those, good rocking chair, comfortable. Put some of those little pads in it, and I'm fine. And then I'm gradually, as I get the house stuff done, then I'm gonna move back in again. This will be the third time or whatever it happens to be, and I'll give it a try again because at some point, my plan is or has been to make that the home. That would be my home. I mean, I'd just be here and staring out the window like a little bird in a nest, reading a book or drinking a beer or whatever. And yeah, that's just what the plan's been. You have to have. I have plans. Like for a person my age, 77, the life expectancy for me now is 10 years. Well, then you start thinking in those terms. Like, okay, well, even though you may live longer than that, you don't want to give up the ship, but you need to be realistic. Like, okay. And I had a little warning here a few months ago. I called it somebody fired around for effect. And what it was before I went out to Capitan this last time. I was sitting here one day, and all of a sudden, a part of my tongue got numb. And I thought, no, that's screwed up. What I do? Bite my tongue? It was just on the right side, the tongue. And then a little while later, well, within a few minutes or yeah, few 2 or 3 minutes, the right side of my face was like numb. Okay, and then my right hand started to get a little numb. Okay, and I thought, huh. So anyway, I checked it out on Google, and that's a there's a name for it, but it's basically a minor stroke. Okay, now but it says I read about it at Mayo Clinic and read some more stuff on it. It does happen. That does happen occasionally to old people like me, but normally uh, it goes away. Because it can be caused by lack of oxygen, or it can be caused by a small blood vessel that ruptured somewhere and wasn't big enough to kill you or give you the the strange look. And so, but anyway, so I'm aware that things are changing. You understand? Somebody, whoo, they fired around for effect. It got my attention because, yeah, I mean, it was just a weird deal, man. And I was thinking, is this going to be forever now? Because it could, shit, that's the way it happens. You don't get, they don't send you a letter and say, well, okay, in 10 days, this is going to happen and go away. And okay, it just happens. And there you sit and you're thinking, well, is this going to go away or what? Am I stuck with this shit? Anyway, I do know some friends of mine that have had strokes, and they had to go to all kind of, I don't know what you call it, therapy or whatever they call it, physical therapy stuff, and yeah, they all did okay. Most of them came out of it pretty good, but I am not in the mode for that, so to speak. But anyway, what's that got to do with beer 30? A lot. That's why I stayed drunk. I mean, shit. I mean, if you're gonna be paralyzed on the right side, you might as well be stoned. I mean, here's to you. Mm. Yeah, naturally be my right side. You know what I mean? That's the hand I drink my beer with. You know how long it'd take me to learn to drink with my left hand? About that long. And if I couldn't move either one, you know how long it'd take me to figure out how to get a straw in that thing with my teeth? About that long. You know what I mean? Some things ain't going to change. But anyway, guys, this is going on long enough. And yeah, enjoy your life the best you can because it's the only one you got. Time's passing. It's beer 30. Remain sane. Think positive. You know, even when negative things happen, you know, or whatever, the real things that happen in life happen, you know, just onward through the fog, man. That's all you can do. Just boom, 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 boom. You know, just keep going and think positive and keep your head up and head on down the road, baby. But anyway, guys, from Fort Clark Springs on a nice day, this is Rusty78609 saying thumbs up, carpe diem, adios, bye bye, buy anything you want anytime. But if you think about it, use the Amazon link in the description of all of my videos. Some of you are, some of you have. Anyway, what else? Drink plenty of beer, water, whatever the hell you're into, tea, blunts, or things. And yeah, keep your health, guys. And we'll talk again tomorrow at Comment Call. And on we go. Adios. Enjoy. Oh, I got a pizza. Adios. Bye bye.